great googly moogly. This is just the drama that keeps on giving. This is actually just insane. Somehow, you guys, somehow, this whole Destiny situation isn't any even new information. No new information, but there's still more to talk about, okay? Let's just get straight into it. So, you know, I'm as you do, I'm scrolling the Twitter timeline a little bit, all right? And I come across some tweets from Nicholas Diorio, all right? Another great content creator on this website. You should check him out. Or he's talking about the Ethan Klein H3H3 content nuke on Hassan. Another great video. You should definitely check that one out if you haven't. And as well as the content nuke that Ryan Bearden made on Destiny. Another great video that I mentioned in the last video that I covered Destiny on. If you haven't seen that, it's a pretty good place to get some information about some of the probably questionable things that Destiny has done, right? So he shares this tweet. Imagine if these guys were anything other than spineless, pathetic cowards, showing both Destiny and Hassan reacting either to Hassan's content or Ethan Klein's content nuke against Hassan and Ryan Beard's content nuke against Destiny. Also, this goes without saying, I don't really care if you like my Hassan/Ethan coverage. If you think Destiny should still have a career as a respected political creator after what he did to Pixie, I invite you to unsubscribe, unfollow, so I don't have to go through the trouble of purging you myself. You're not welcome in my community. Now, this is an idea that we kind of touched on in the last video. Does Destiny really deserve to have a political career after what he did to Pixie, and allegedly what he did to several other girls? Nicholas Diorio has been very, very staunch on his stance that no, Destiny should not have any type of career or any type of social media career, much less a political career. And I probably agree. He probably shouldn't have a respected political career after this. Like, if someone in actual Congress, in actual law, in actual politics in our country had a sex scandal of this level, they probably shouldn't be able to continue holding office. And I think that logic also applies to Destiny. But Nick's tweets here bring up an important idea of don't let the bad actions of one person distract from the bad actions of another, okay? Hassan and Destiny both have done some really, really bad things, and they're both kind of enemies. So Hassan's fans are rejoicing that Destiny did a bad thing, and Destiny's fans are rejoicing that Hassan did a bad thing, right? But that shouldn't distract the outside observers from being able to criticize both sides at the same time, okay? So, I mean, that makes sense, and I think that's pretty much as simple of a way to explain it as can be. But these tweets by Nicholas Diorio actually elicit a response from Destiny himself. He goes on to say, I just want to say how absolutely fucking hilarious it is that you fat soy fucks were screeching and screaming about how horrible and evil cancel culture is, and the hashtag MeToo shit was, innocent until proven guilty, but you're super content to take a side on this because of where the popular support is when only one side has spoken. I'll respond with more substance when I can, but I'm being attacked by the people who have literally nothing to lose and everything to gain by saying whatever insane shit they can publicly while trying to squeeze me legally and privately, which puts me in the most annoying spot imaginable when dealing with idiots like you. If you really want to show your nuts, why not attack places like Kiwi Farms where the content is literally still being hosted and blasted to the world? Oh, because that's a scarier party to go after, eh? Talk about cowards. Now, there's a couple interesting ideas to kind of like break down in these paragraphs here. First idea I want to look at is that Destiny kind of alludes to having a substantive response. Destiny has responded on stream. He kind of did talk about the allegations, but he didn't really go into detail of them. It makes sense. He's just kind of limited on what he can say with a civil suit pending against him. But he is alluding that he does have more stuff to say with more substance. But obviously he can't right now because of the suit. Now, I'm interested in what he has to say because, like, Destiny, it seems like he has admitted admitted fault in all this, right? But I also think it's interesting how he kind of draws in Kiwi Farms and tries to put the blames on Kiwi Farms. I feel like it's interesting because shouldn't the blame be on the people who posted it on Kiwi Farms? Like, I wouldn't blame Twitter if someone posted a bad thing on Twitter. I would blame the person who posted the bad thing on Twitter. So same thing on Kiwi Farms. And we'll talk a little bit about that more later. But for now, we'll move on to the fact that what is Destiny talking about here? He literally did admit fault. So what is he talking about where he's going to respond with more substance? What more substance is there to respond with? And that idea is brought up in this tweet here by someone replying to Destiny saying, I think the problem is all the DMs where you admitted to sharing nudes without consent. Seems kind of guilty. I mean, point blank, makes a lot of sense. Then Destiny responds, I didn't admit shit, but keep up the great framing. Now, didn't admit shit? I don't think this is framing, bro, because what the hell is this right here? She's not a high-profile micro-celebrity, and you didn't leak it maliciously. You didn't even leak it at all, you distributed it non-consensually. And Destiny responds with, yeah, I know, acknowledging what this other person just said. Now, regardless of whether you want to say technically did he leak it or did he just distribute it non-consensually, and there's a difference between that, that's not really important for right now. The fact is that Destiny has right here clearly acknowledged that he distributed it non-consensually, at the very least, if not leaked it. And that's exactly what he's being accused of. So how can he say he didn't admit to anything when this is literally a screenshot, verifiable? There's no reason to think this screenshot is photoshopped or not real or anything like that. Now, the question is, why is he talking like this? Well, my guess is that he's contradicting this public information just because of the lawsuit. You know, he has to be careful in the way he says things and what he says, and this is just another example of that. So basically, just most of my thoughts are summed up in the replies that I left under Nicholas Diario's tweets in the first place. I'm so interested to eventually have hindsight for this clusterfuck of a situation. The room for doubt that Steven leaked Pixie's tape is basically non-existent, but for some reason, he's still acting like he's being falsely accused. I feel like there's more going on that we won't know about until stuff with the ongoing cases end. Probably he's just referring to all the obviously fake stuff being said about him, and he'll have to completely admit guilt for the stuff with Pixie. I guess we'll find out eventually. So yeah, that's basically my leading theory right now, is what he's talking about when he said I never admitted guilt, or what he's talking about where he said innocent until proven guilty, is the people making insane accusations against him that don't really have good foundations, don't really have good bases, like him colluding with H3H3 to make the content nuke, which is so irrelevant and so stupid, or him being some kind of serial rapist or something like that. There's not really evidence for that. We have evidence for some things, we don't have evidence for things like that. And the fact that people are making accusations of things like that gives Destiny kind of gives Destiny like authority to deny guilt in general, and it makes him look credible when he denies the guilt in general, because there's those types of accusations against him that don't even have good credibility in the first place. As I said in my sum up of my feelings and my thoughts on this whole situation is, we'll find out eventually. But before I leave you guys until the next one, there is one more thing that I want to talk about that I kind of mentioned earlier, and that's Kiwi Farms. Destiny's name drop against them kind of got their attention, so the official Kiwi Farms Twitter account tweeted themselves. Now, if you don't know what Kiwi Farms is, it's a social media site. I personally have never really been on Kiwi Farms myself. I don't use the farms. I'm not one of the farmers, but they have kind of a legendary history on the internet, and they have a reputation for being full of people who dox and full of people who are racist and stuff like that. But it's famous for its low moderation, basically. So that's why it has that reputation for people who are extremely racist and people who commit crimes like doxing and stuff like that. It almost has zero moderation. And so Kiwi Farms' tweet, they say, "Hi, at the Omni Liberal. The law puts liability for non-consensual intimate images on the person who released it. There are carve-outs for liability in matters of public interest, such as political figures. You are the only person who can be liable for what you did." Now, what the heck does any of this mean? Well, there's a few things. First of all, the specific law that they name dropped is a law in regards to civil action that can be brought against someone who distributed non-consensual images of another person. Okay, so when I read this, I was a little bit confused and I wanted to get some more information, so I went on and looked at the actual law itself, which is right here. So the beginning of the law basically highlights all the definitions for what consent means, sexually explicit conduct means, what intimate material means, all that stuff. But what we want to look at right here is Section B under civil action, basically the rights of the person that got their intimate material leaked. An individual whose intimate visual depiction is disclosed without the consent of the individual, where such disclosure was made by a person who knows that the individual has not consented to such disclosure, may bring a civil action against that person in an appropriate district court of the United States for relief. So basically, this law is saying that someone who has had their intimate material disclosed by another party is allowed to bring civil action against that party in a court of law. But as Kiwi Farm mentioned, there are some exceptions that are listed out inside the law we just read. So what do those mean? We can see here that the law says an identifiable individual may not bring an action for relief under this section relating to a matter of public concern or public interest. But what the heck does that exception even actually mean? I did a little bit more reading to kind of get a better understanding of it, and here is the conclusion that I've come to. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't like, you know, a highly accredited opinion or anything like that, but this is my understanding basically of what the writing in that law basically means. And it all comes from this idea that we kind of have a history of in the country of the USA, that we really want to give protections to journalists. For example, if there was some breaking news story that involved sexually intimate materials being distributed, if I, as a journalist, covered that story, I couldn't be held civilly liable by the person whose news were leaked. So basically, it's protections put in place mainly for journalists. Now, Kiwi Farms' argument is that they, as well as the people on their site who are hosting these discussions, would be protected under this argument. Now, is that really a good legal theory? Would that actually work? Would that argument hold up in a court of law? Obviously, we don't really know, and I kind of don't think we'll ever get to see the answer. I highly, highly doubt that this will ever really be put up to the test. I don't think we're going to really get an answer. I don't think this is going to go to the courts, this specific thing, and we'll have an answer on this specific scenario. But that's basically Kiwi Farms' argument, and that's all for now. As far as new developments go, that's pretty much it. As I said in the beginning of this video, there's not really any new information, just some new developments and new things to talk about. But you can be sure that once new information does come out, I'll be right here to let explain it to you guys and share it with you guys when they do eventually come out. So if you enjoyed the video, I really appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know how it is. If you enjoyed this video, you should go check out the last video I posted about the whole Kanye situation on Twitter. If you haven't seen, Kanye's been having an absolute fucking meltdown on Twitter, and it's kind of a gold mine of stuff to explore. Unfortunately, that video did get age restricted, so it's probably not going to show up on anybody's feeds. But if you enjoyed this video and that sounds like something you'd be interested in, go ahead, check it out on my channel. I'd really appreciate the support. All that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, peace.